Welcome everybody, it's Rev. This is going to be the very first Pokemon Pocket TCG or Pokemon TCG Pocket. I don't even know what the fuck this game is called. Video for the channel. And I just wanted to make a video about my thoughts on what I believe by far the most powerful Pokemon is, if not the most powerful card is in Pocket right now. Um, although I don't know. Professor's research is probably it, but let's walk that back. It'll be the most powerful Pokemon. We'll not talk about items or supporters or whatever the fuck. I don't play or have never played Pokemon, but just jumped into this game and wanted to talk about what I think is the best card. Because I think people are missing this, and I just like having come from Yu-Gi-Oh, where there's no resource system, and then also played games where there is a resource system. I think both types of game players miss things, and I just can't believe how bad Pokemon Pocket TCG players are. And just wanted to make this video more to say I told you so, because I don't think anyone else has said this. I want to be the first to say it because there's no way that this card doesn't restrict game design at some point in the future. Um, I've also been known in the retro Yu-Gi-Oh community to talk about different cards that I think are powerful, have been right a lot more often than wrong with meta-defining stuff, whether or not that's in Edison, like DDV and deck dev or whatever it is. But I just want to talk about this card um, because I think not that this game is necessarily meant to be competitive, because it's not. It's a casual game. You can just tell by the way it's designed. The dev team hasn't really talked about game design or game balance at all. But I just frankly cannot. I cannot believe more people aren't talking about this card and the issues it may or may not cause. So, um, what is that card? I'm not going to tell you right off. You can skip ahead if you want to. If you want to see more Pokemon Pocket TCG content, let me know. Um, Also, subscriptions are helpful to help grow the channel. But where I want to start with this is a discussion on games with a resource system. So the game that I played for years and years and years was Hearthstone that had a resource system, and a recurring theme on Hearthstone when they would do balance changes was cards that allowed you to cheat mana. And you can think of mana as energy for this game because they functionally are very, very similar. Um, Except mana was more or less just to get a card in play in Hearthstone. Energy in Pokemon you use for quite a few different things. So, um, retreating, attacking, stuff like that. Different types of effects have different energy costs. Um, Surprisingly enough, items and the like don't really have energy costs, but it's just a different designed game, I suppose. Um, a recurring theme is that anything that allows you to cheat energy is going to be inherently somewhat broken. And conversely, if there's anything that's like severely undercosted, that's going to warp the game. And if you're familiar with Hearthstone, cards like Innervate, as well as Wild Growth, stuff like that, um, in later sets, Shaman, when Aggro Shaman was really big, they turned certain costs and mana costs um, into advantages, and it kind of just wreaked havoc. And Hearthstone's pretty much unplayable at this point. But for Yu-Gi-Oh players, resource systems are um, very unfamiliar. You kind of just like see a card, play a card, and there aren't real costs to anything. Certain cards maybe have a life point cost, or maybe even require you to discard a card, but those aren't like real, actual resource system based costs. Because in most games, the resource system uh, slowly to even out the tempo of the game will build over time. And you can even like if you're familiar with Magic, which I'm not super familiar with, like think about how many different cards could never ever be printed in their original form because they allow you to cheat mana. So where I'm going with this is I think Moltres is the best, the best card in the entire game right now. Maybe not the best card. Let's step that back. I said the best Pokemon. This card is nuts. It's crazy. It's crazy, and I want to explain why. So a lot of people complain about uh, Misty, which is inherently kind of a broken card. You're trading one card for an expected value of one energy. If you do the math, which maybe I could do that in a separate video, the expected value of Misty is one card or one energy rather, which is insane. When you compare it to a card like Brock, which is one card in supporter form for one energy, that's good, but it's more restrictive because you can only use it on Onyx or Golem. Onyx is ass. Golem is also, frankly, kind of ass, and it's a stage 2 Pokemon. Misty, a lot of people think breaks the game because it kind of does. You're trading, again, a card in a resource-based trading card game for an expected value of one energy. And again, 50% of the time you get nothing. Um, if you flip a heads, you have the opportunity to get one energy, two energy, three energy, all the way up to infinite. And I ran some math on this, and I was thinking, you technically with Misty could get like 8 energy, but does that matter? No. So if you run the math and look at Misty and say, anything more than like 3 energy that I get with Misty, I don't really care. Like the difference between me getting like 3 energy and like 15 energy, like that's not going to affect the game 99.9999% of the time. If I get 1 energy with Misty, I'm really happy. If I get, 2 energy with Misty, I'm like fist pumping. If I get 3, um like jumping for joy. But if I get like 4, I'm not like really all that much more happy than if I got 3. And if I got 6, it's like the same thing as 3. Like I don't need that much energy. So if you run the math on Misty, Misty basically has an expected value of a little actually less than 1 energy if you cut off like the probabilities of getting like, I don't know, 25 heads and like 25 energy. It just doesn't matter. You're never going to use 25 energy. So it's a little bit less than 1. So that brings us back to the point of this video, which is Moltres, which I think is as time goes on, and again, this is more of meant to be a preemptive I told you so. I know it sounds arrogant, but like I just can't believe people aren't talking about this card. Like this is one of those cards like in early like Yu-Gi-Oh that you look at that you're like, how did they ever print this? Like this just restricts game design so much. And it's Moltres. Like how do you look at this card and not say every single fire Pokemon that they ever print and make for this deck has to inherently be less powerful because this card exists. Moltres restricts future game design more than almost any other card I've seen in Pokemon Pocket so far. It's so much more powerful than anything, like by a lot. And I want to kind of talk about a few of the reasons why, which is just how easily it allows you to cheat energy and how many other things it does. So let's look at the first effect. You flip 3 coins. You take an amount of energy from your energy zone equal to the number of heads and attach it to your benched fire Pokemon in any way you like. So if you look at that, that averages out to about an energy and a half for a cost of what? 1 energy. What does that mean? That means you're getting a positive payback instantly on average, if not an outright game winning effect. But even just on average, let's think about averages. On average, with Misty, you're actually getting slightly less of a payback if you consider one card, 1 energy. Because you don't, again, it's about like zero point 0.9 or something energy you're getting with Misty, because you don't really need 40 energy attached to something. If you look at this, you're getting plus zero point 0.5 because you pay 1 energy, and on average, you're getting 1.5 energy back. Let's take this a step further. So that's a turn 1 effect. Turn 1, you're able to cheat with no evolution requirement. On a basic Pokemon, you're able to cheat 0.5 energy, which is already very, very good. Now let's think about it again. What happens next turn? You flip another coin 3 times. And then what happens? You get the same payoff, which is 1.5 energy for no additional cost. So for the cost of 1.5 energy, or 1 energy, if you use this effect twice, your expected payoff is 3 energy. So you have a net positive 2 energy. That's insane. That is insane. That's like activating Misty twice. And you're also getting other benefits. First, you're getting a card that can tank in your active zone that you want with a reasonable retreat cost at 2, which synergizes with X speed because you're already going to have an energy attached to it. So like I can't believe like how much this is going to restrict game design moving forward. Like this card is absolutely nuts. And I hope this is one of those things where like if this game actually grows and is taken somewhat seriously, people point back to this video and say, this guy saw it first. Because like if you don't understand how insanely broken energy like ramping is for a card like this, you just don't understand the game. I'm sorry, you just don't. So let's run through this one more time. For your very first turn, you get 140 tank with a retreat cost that synergizes with X speed because you're already going to have 1 energy attached to it. You pay 1 energy and you instantly get a payback of 1.5 energy, which gives you a net positive 0.5 energy because you have to subtract out the original cost. Turn 2, you activate it again. You get an average of an additional 1.5 energy, but you already paid the original cost, so you don't have to net it out. So by turn 2, you're cheating on average 2 energy. That's insane. This will be, mark my words, this will be one of the most problematic cards depending on how long this game lasts. Unless every single fire monster they ever print is bad. That's the only way it works. Because when you look at fire monsters at this point, they're not really that good, as opposed to other than maybe like Arcanine. Like if you look at like the Charizards, or let's actually just look at all fire monsters. They're all ass. They're all fucking irredeemably ass. I do think for like an aggro deck, Ponyta and Rapidash are good, but they don't synergize with Moltres really all that much, just because you don't really need to ramp energy with them. That's not the point of the deck. You're basically just using their low energy cost to Blaine and sack somebody, basically. If you look at like Charmander into Charmeleon into Charizard EX, it's really bad. Like, look how bad this card is. This card's fucking ass. Like, this is literally unplayable. This is like completely fucking unplayable for what you're getting. You're getting a basic Pokemon with a standard retreat cost with a very, very bad effect attached to its attack. Like, this is literally unplayable. Now let's look at Charmeleon. Uh, where is that? This is the UI we're talking about. It's so bad. Nothing's in order. Where the hell is it? Here we go. Look how bad this card is. This is one of the worst cards in the whole game right now. Like 90 HP, mid, Fire Claws for 60, which is the 3 energy requirement, awful. Double retreat cost, dog shit. And then when you look at something like Charizard EX, like this isn't really that good. I'm sorry to say it. It's really unfortunately not. Because if you're discarding 2 energy for something and you have to put this in your active spot when it's just at 4 energy, that means you have to wait 2 turns to attack again. And unless something like a Gardevoir ever exists for this card, unfortunately, it's just kind of very, very mid. So think about if they had something that's even like marginally better than Arcanine for a fire type monster, how broken fire type stuff would be. This card's actually like pretty good. It's not amazing. I mean, you're getting a lot of damage for a decent energy cost, a little bit overcosted on retreat, decent HP, has a bad break point with Mewtwo, but does 20 damage to itself, so it's not even that good. But when you combine Moltres with Arcanine, it's a very good deck. But imagine that we had some higher cost, maybe basic or just EX type fire Pokemon. It's going to break the shit out of Moltres, and Moltres is just going to break the shit out of it, unless they're inherently just across the board worse than every other archetype, or every other energy type, rather. So I want to also showcase a deck that I've been using with this and have like an insane win rate with. So it's double Growlithe here, double Arcanine, two Moltres, a Mew, and then this is the rest. I'll just kind of scroll through it slowly. But I just wanted to make this video to share some of my thoughts on like what I think the best card is um, in the game right now, and it just has to be Moltres. Like if you disagree, you just don't understand the game. Like like think about like with all the other like mana cheating, how much you have to commit. Like Gardevoir, excellent mana cheating, but it's a stage 3, so it's inconsistent, or stage 2, so it's inconsistent. Same with Superior, great card. The cards that come before it are actually not all that bad either that it evolves from, but it's heinously inconsistent. Um, as soon as turn 1, you're cheating mana with Moltres, and it's a good tank, and it has a reasonable retreat cost. So that's it. That's just what I wanted to talk about. Thanks for watching.